So far, it was largely the philosophers who studied human consciousness, but a serious effort to understand consciousness and walk the path towards ultimate reality was made at the MIT World Peace University in the form of the world's first conference on consciousness, the ultimate reality.
I must remember my professor who told us that if you go to Shiva temple, what do you do before having reached the Shiva temple? What do you do first? I just want one of you tell me. You enter Shiva temple, what do you do? Go down to Nandi, yes. Unless and until you go and touch Nandi, you don't go and visit Lord Shiva. Same way here, all the fibers in the brain, they have to go through thalamus to reach the cortex so that the sensations are perceived. And memory. Where is memory? Memory is, you will hear a term, or you must have already heard the term. Memory is in an area called hippocampus, fornix, and I will not name the other structures. I want only to remember, you to remember at least one or two of these. Now this is how you see the brain. This is how it looks. And the part that you are seeing here is the one which is below, touching the skull inside. And this is what I called ascending reticular system, ARAS, which you can see in the brainstem, from where the fibers are conveyed, the sensations are conveyed to the cortex. I talked about hippocampus. Can you see the hippocampus in purple color? And in front of that, very important structure, that is amygdala, which is really responsible, and you must remember where it is. So only two things I want you to remember, hippocampus and amygdala. And this is what you see, this is real human brain that has been bisected. Only one hemisphere you are seeing, and here what you are seeing is showing the structures when you take the section, and the two hemispheres are connected by a mass of white matter which is called corpus callosum. You can omit that from your brain. This is the same thing that you are seeing. I want you to have a look below where there is a structure which is round and which you can see, which is called as the fornix. And below the fornix is the thalamus. This is a little enlarged version. Same thing. Now please look at this area. This is where the upper part of the brain has been removed. I want you to look at the structure that you see when the upper part of the brain is removed. That is what we call just now hippocampus. Fornix that continues upwards. So two structures you are seeing here. What are the two structures? Hippocampus and fornix. So we are talking about memory now. Now the generation of internal feelings and motivation. Where do they lie? In the brain. Just now I showed you amygdala. And we talked about thalamus. Below thalamus, what you see is the hypothalamus. And also associated structures of limbic system. Please remember that hypothalamus plays a very important role. Whatever you express, that I am talking to you. In my mind, I am just thinking, how many of you are taking in? How many of you are just listening to me? How many of you are interested? That is the job of hypothalamus. Hypothalamus plays an important role in outward expression of emotion. Some people are emotionless, mask-like face, when they are listening to you, but still they are thinking. So the process is going on. Now please remember that brain is taken as a global workspace computer model proposed by Bass in the year 1988. That means it has got number of parallel processes. And all of you know in Alzheimer's, everyone, I have spoken to many, they say that there is something going on in my head. All the wires are disconnected or interconnected wrongly. That's what happens, but it is a combination of everything. So the consciousness which we think is a riddle requires understanding and resolution. That's what all the eminent speakers here are trying to do. What are the different aspects of consciousness we must consider, which are part of us, which need special mention? So please remember two key features: wakefulness and awareness. Three key areas you must know: thalamus and posterior part of the cortex. The middle part I am leaving it, not necessary. And any problem associated with any one of the links, it leads to coma. So please see this. This is the thalamus that you are seeing. And all these are connected inside by white matter. There are different bundles that you see. They are interconnected. And these are the areas that you see. Different areas, one for the movements, one for attention and working memory, C for verbal report, that is Broca's area, which I mentioned, and the other content of consciousness, auditory, visual. I am skipping those. Now I am coming to consciousness. What are the areas concerned with consciousness? This is the chart, but I have split it into different parts. What are the anatomical substrates that you see? For alertness, upper brainstem, midline nuclei, and the cerebral cortex. Awareness, the cortex, cerebral cortex, and the hippocampus and the neocortex. Attention, anterior singular gyrus, and other things which you can just omit. Now, executive function that is being done by top management, planning, and then executing it, multitasking. And all women here, you must agree with me that we do multitasking. That is called executive function, that is done by frontal lobe and the connections. And the perception is by sensory cortex. You have seen all the sensations. Explicit memory is by hippocampus, and the others are there along with the hippocampus. This is showing the different parts. And I want you to remember only few things. It's impossible to remember everything. When we teach medical students also, we tell them revise, revise, re-revise. But here what we want you to remember is consciousness in the brain is depicted in various areas of the brain. What is important is brainstem and cerebral cortex, and in the cerebral cortex, it is in different areas. Thank you very much, and I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. I hope at least something is gone in, will be retained. Thank you very much.